The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Welcome and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PS&L Marketing Group, and as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as General Manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. And a huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. And as always, we have lots of stuff going on at Pearl Street Station this whole weekend. You, Chef Joaquin, and Pizziola Muhammad are gearing up for a huge Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And a shout out to my great 1215 staff of John, Jen, Nicole, and Dennis. Keep up the great work. Now, I cannot believe that this is show number 35, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Can you believe it? It sounds like a little like Al Michaels there. I am totally blown away from the number of emails and calls that I've received from loyal listeners. Matt from Pembroke, Tamika from Plymouth, Mike on the North River, Judy from Marshfield, Stephen and Coach Bill from Duxbury, JP from Saugus. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to Joanne from Randolph. Joanne bid on an auction item at a Plymouth Rotary Club fundraiser. The prize was to be in studio with Rob and Beth on their South Shore Morning News show. Joanne was on yesterday. She did a fabulous job. And I also heard that Joanne said she would be tuning into Paul Ponders today. So welcome, Joanne from Randolph. Great job again, Joanne. This sounds like a romper room moment. It really does. I sort of feel like Miss Jean here. And just a quick mention. Last week was a great opportunity. It was the first time that I had really done a live remote. And we went down to the Walmart down in Plymouth, and it was really great. And I want to thank Envoy and from the Salvation Army for being just so nice to work with. And of course, Rob Hackler was there, Larry Nelson, and Dave Boyle, chairman of the Pembroke School Committee, was in fact there as my guest, and he opened up the show. He did a great job, and he did such a great job opening that he's going to be doing the whole show next week. So tune in next Saturday. David Boyle will be hosting the show. I'll actually be at a backyard barbecue in Methuen with my team that I've been doing for many, many years, and it's one of those things that I'll try to listen in from Methuen. The signal is kind of cool up as far north as Tewksbury, but it's something that I'll be tuning in, listening to David, and he's working on his guests for next week, so that will be great. Now with us, it's usually Tim behind the glass, but it's Dave behind the glass, and Dave is on the glass. He's making a phone call, and Dave Cedrone. Dave, if you're in your car driving home to your cat, hello, but Dave, behind the glass, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
It's a pleasure to be working with you.
Thanks.
Now, have you been at WATD a long time?
I've been doing the board work here for a little over a year, something like that. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's really great meeting you. I've heard your name mentioned at meetings and all. I've heard you on other shows. And also, it's a pleasure working with you today. And Tim McKenney, hope you're doing well. Missed seeing you last week, but a shout out to Tim, who does a great job. Yeah. And again, to Dave Cedrone, hope your cat is doing well. And we'll take it from there. So I think we could, in fact, we almost ready to go to.
Just trying to get her on the phone right now.
So what we'll do is we'll just talk about the podcast that I dropped the other day, midnight. I dropped the podcast on, let me see, it was the Engineering Infinity book with my friend retired Staff Sergeant Gene Stico of the United States Air Force. And Gene has been a guest on Paul Ponders, and we'll hear more about that on the return after commercials. But at this point, I would like to introduce the segment, the Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, Vice President of Technology Literacy for Pod Pro Entertainment, and a past Paul Ponders guest, episode number 35. Shelley, are you on the line?
Hello.
Hey, hi, Shelley. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Back in studio. I'm not hanging out at a Walmart parking lot with lots of onlookers. And by the way, that truck last week was getting stuffed with so many school supplies. It was awesome. Awesome to see.
That's great to hear.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, in the intro, I added a title. Is this a promotion per se? Vice President of Technology Literacy for Pod Pro Entertainment?
Yes, we are doing some reorganization of the company, and so I was able to get promoted. Yes. So,
wow. And what exactly does this role entail with Pod Pro Entertainment?
Yeah, so it's, looking at different technologies that are out there, how we can increase our services in the podcast industry and stay relevant, and then obviously supporting tech tips across different platforms, and being on the show here. So
very good, very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And at this point, I am ready, if you are, with some techie tips that eventually will get put onto my PSNL Marketing Group blog.
All right. Sounds great. Well, today we're going to talk about some tech tips for grief, where there are gentle tools for healing, remembering, and reaching out. Grief is such a deeply personal and often unpredictable thing that a lot of us deal with over our lifetimes, and whether we've recently lost loved ones or we're supporting someone who's been mourning the death of their favorite artist or actor or just human being. And obviously we've lost a lot of folks this past couple weeks, so we just need to take a moment and reflect and know that we're not alone. So today's tech tip isn't about the gadgets or streaming apps. It's about how technology can be used mindfully and can help us to cope, connect, and carry on when we're navigating grief. So the first tech topic we're going to talk about is staying connected without feeling overwhelmed when we use tech to stay close on our own terms. Again, we've talked about video or voice messages with close friends and family where it can feel more comforting than some of those texts. It's really important. People like to hear people's voices, and I think it's really important that we try to not always be in that text world. Group texts are good, as well as shared calendars where you can help coordinate meals, errands, or even those funeral arrangements when needed, when we don't have the energy to explain over and over. So again, there's also a tip where you can use your do not disturb or your focus modes on your phones to protect some of your quiet time and avoid draining conversations when you're just not up for it. Some easy apps that we can use that we haven't really talked about is an app called Marco Polo, which is really great for like short little video messages. WhatsApp, Signal, or even our Facebook Messenger a lot of times allow us to have connection on our own schedules. So those are really important tools to think about. Use tech to reflect and remember. Create digital memory spaces. Make a private Google photo album or use Apple Memories to organize photos and videos of your loved ones. Voice memo apps, record your memories, stories, or thoughts, either share or just for yourself. I know I have some memories of just voicemails that I've kept over time. Create slideshow, playlist, or digital scrapbooks that bring joy and comfort when you need it. There's also optional tools out there like StoryCorps or My Life Legacy apps that help record and organize some of your personal stories and interviews with family members. Another thing to think about is mindfulness apps, supporting apps that will allow us to support our mental and emotional well-being. We've talked a little bit in the past about Calm or Headspace, but there's also the Insight Timer. These offer guided meditations, different breathing exercises, even grief specialty programs. These are free, but they also do have paid subscription services. And then there's grief support apps like GriefWorks or Grief Mourning that provide audio support, journaling, and different tools designed by grief counselors. So if you want to be in the virtual world, You can also set up daily reminders just to check in with yourself. Take 5 minutes and do a guided breathing with yourself so you can offer yourself some relief. Reach out and find support. There's some other option Bs are Modern Loss or What's Your Grief out there. Offer free resources, stories, and virtual communities. There's Facebook groups, local hospice centers that often host online hybrid grief communities, support groups, teletherapy, text-based counseling. You could use apps like BetterHelp or TalkSpace, which offer flexible options for those who aren't already in-person sessions. You can also check with your workplace insurances. Many plans also offer and include virtual counseling options, mental health benefits through Lyra, and many other companies out there. So for a bunch of quick tech healing tips for your toolbox, use voice and video messages to lower pressure connections, save and organize memories in private digital albums, try grief meditations and calming apps, and then join an online support group or virtual therapies when you feel ready. If you're grieving, remember, healing does not have to mean forgetting. It's sometimes a simple app or message can bring comfort and connection or peace. If you know someone who's struggling, gently share one of these tips. It might just help them. I like to put on music, but, we all find our ways to deal. So that's today's tech tip. Take care of your heart, give yourself grace, and also use tools around you that you can find light in some of these hard moments, because no one's alone in this.
Wow. The very, very interesting, very soothing, and also a very pondering type of presentation. And I thank you for that. And as you know, over the past week or 2 or 3, have gone through some loss of some friends, and it really hasn't been easy, and it's something that we all lean on each other as a family, friends, and we get through it. And let me just ask you a question about, what about, say, the spoken word, if you will, at a wake or a funeral? Are there apps out there or websites out there which can assist on how to write a eulogy or something like that?
Those are really great questions. I know that a lot of times there are services through the the funeral homes. Funeral homes and obviously friends who may know how to do some of that stuff. Pastors will work with you, but I haven't really heard about different apps for that, but I bet there are, and I'm going to do some research into that, because there's also a lot of times where people use differences between, right, like you have your eulogy and then you have the obituary, and people really struggle with that, especially when people are not necessarily thinking about that this is going to happen, right, or planning that this is going to happen, and it happens out of nowhere. So I think those are good things. The only one that I'm really aware of is an AI eulogy generator, which is called ToastPal, and I have not used it, so I can't tell you how good or not good it is, but, those are ones and things that I will look into.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to sit down one day and ponder that, and we'll find out what Techie Talonzo is doing. We'll have to ponder with him one day.
Absolutely. I think that would be a great idea, because, again, every one of us, unfortunately, is going to deal with this at some points in our life, whether it's friends, family, or just, people that are out there in the world, and we have responsibilities. So, I would love to ponder that with you.
That's fabulous. So, Shelley, how do our listeners in Paul Ponders Land get in touch with you?
Absolutely. They can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
That is fabulous. Well, Shelley Wolf, I won't be on next week, but we'll have you still on the schedule with Dave Boyle. I'm sure he would love to have you on as a guest, but I will be in touch during the week. But until we meet again, my friend, we'll catch up with you real soon.
Sounds good. Stay well. Have a great show.
#Indeed. You got it. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. Let's hear from our sponsors.
A reminder from Crystal Clear Pools in Kingston. Pools can be fun and a relief from summer's heat, but they can also be a safety concern. Crystal Clear Pools offers safety tips including don't swim alone, don't dive into unfamiliar waters, have automatic locks on all gates and points of access, know where all your safety equipment is located and know how to use it, know where the nearest telephone is in case of emergency, and always keep your pool clean and sanitized. For other safety tips and quality pool products, stop by and see us on Route 27 in Kingston, Crystal Clear Pools, 781-585-7665. Be safe this season.
Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857. Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Five-time Hall of Fame inductee President Dave Caiazzo from the National Italian-American Sports Hall of Fame Massachusetts chapter invites you to its Hall of Fame induction ceremony at 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 5th at Anthony's of Malden. Congrats to Zavarian Brothers High School head football coach Al Finaro, past San Diego Padres farmhand Joe DiSarcina, and special Tony the Champ DeMarco Spirit Award recipient Catholic Memorial AD football coach John DiBiazzo. Please contact Paul at paulponders.com or President Dave Caiazzo at davekaipitching@gmail.com for more ticket information. Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were three deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. The call-in number is 781-837-4900, or you could also find us on the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. And a shout-out to those nonprofits out there. If you want, in fact, to reach out to me, please email me at paul@paulponders.com, or if you have any show ideas, anything you want to talk about, like our other listeners that I mentioned earlier, please do. Again, paul@paulponders.com. Listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my last Paul Ponders podcast dropped this past Sunday with retired Staff Sergeant Gene Stico, U.S. Air Force, in his Engineering Infinity book. And as co-author of this incredibly extensive book, Gene is working with his wife, Natalia, to promote her deceased dad's scientific research on the global platform of reverse engineering and UFOs. I will say that we'll be hearing more about this in future weeks, and also checking the PSNL Marketing Group blog on, we'll say, breaking news, but things are really starting to get really, really interesting, and we'll see what happens. We'll leave it at that. Now, at this point in the program, we have the community outreach segment sponsored by PS&L Marketing Group and the mortgage originators of Riverworks Credit Union. We welcome really interesting members of my network and circle of dear friends. And this week, we have a longtime friend, Mr. Dave Caiazzo. Dave Caiazzo, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Paul.
Dave Caiazzo, welcome. Dave, you're on this segment as the president of the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, Massachusetts chapter. You're the president and I'm treasurer. We're both longtime board members, and you're a past honoree of NIASH, we'll call it, just so I don't have to keep on spelling it out. You're a past member, but also, too, you have an honor coming up in October with the Semi-Professional Hall of Fame, and I believe you're already in 4 Halls of Fame. Is that correct?
Yes, that is true.
That's great. Well, congratulations on those great accomplishments. But we had a recent comedy night at Giggles back in June, I believe. It was Dave Russo, one of our board members, put together a wonderful comedy night. We gave out some education awards, and we have 2 events coming up. So if you would let our listeners in Paul Ponders land before we go to a commercial break, just hear about what we have coming up.
Sure. Well, our next one coming up would be our bocce fundraiser tournament on September 14th at the Italian Citizens Club on Pearl Street in Malden. That's going to begin at 10 o'clock, and we have it for anybody interested to participate. We had it last year at a different location, and everything went fantastic, and everyone had just a ball of a time.
I love
and we, it's $25 per person or $100 for a team, and the teams consist of 4 people, and we have an organizer that organizes the teams and the brackets and so on, and it's just a great event, and it's a great way of raising money for our scholarship fund that we give to the kids. Like you just mentioned, the one we just had, we give out our scholarships to help kids in their education with colleges or wherever. And, it's a great thing we've been doing for a number of years now. And like I say, this is one of the ways of raising some money, and we welcome anyone who would like to participate or even, give a nice donation for our event and for the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. That will, like I say, begin at 10 o'clock on September 14th. So if you need to get in touch with myself, Dave Kai Pitching at gmail.com, and we have Paul Solano. And Paul, you give your...
By all means, absolutely.
Yours is Paul.
Paul at, we could go with the Paul at paulponders.com, or we could go with psfinserve at AOL.com.
Great. So we look forward to hopefully seeing a lot of people there. It'll be a great time, and everyone will enjoy themselves, and hopefully we'll have a great day, and there'll be food and drinks or whatever there. So feel free to come down and sign up. And then our next event would be our induction event. That's the big one. And this is, every year or every year or two, depending, we have our induction ceremony. And this one's going to be at Anthony's Function Room in Malden. And it's going to be on October 5th. And our inductees are going to be, like you had just previously said on your pre-post with me, Paul, that it's going to be Al Finaro, longtime football coach at Xaverian High School, and just recently in 2023, just won a state championship. And Al's got a great resume there, and he's been the strength and conditioning coach, I believe, since 1980. And anyway, he's a great addition to our induction ceremonies on October 5th. Then we have Joe DiSarcina, who I was proud to say was one of my shortstops playing semi-pro ball around these parts before and after I played professionally. But he was just a great addition to put in, and just a tremendous athlete, both baseball and basketball. But more so, he's known for his baseball. And he signed with the San Diego Padres, too, before a colitis issue occurred and had to retire at that point. But Joe's not only a great athlete, he's a great person as well, because I know Joe very well, as do you now, Paul. And he's just a great addition to the induction. The third would be Tony the Champ DeMarco Award, which is going to be given out for the first time this year to John DiBiaso, who is a longtime successful football coach at Everett High School and also now at Catholic Memorial. I believe he started at St. Peter's, or if I have it correctly, that was his very first championship. But John has 16 high school championships, which is a great number. It's amazing. But he's a great person and a great coach, and we'll be very happy to give him the first Tony DeMarco the Champ Award.
That's super. Yeah, and Coach Dibbs really does exude what Tony the Champ DeMarco stood for, and all about education, all about teaching, and just being a great sportsman.
Correct. And we knew Tony well.
Yes,
and
we did.
That was Tony, and he was just a great guy and great competitor and a great champ. And I wish I was a little bit younger at the time, or older at the time, to see some more of his fights, but I just happened to see them only on video or whatever. And but so many people remember him, and he was a great champ.
Yeah, that's great. And Coach Dibbs is actually already one of our members of our Hall of Fame, our illustrious National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame. We have many great members. We're fine-tuning our website, and we'll be able to, in fact, really just present our past honorees as we rebuild our site. But really, it's a great organization that really does a great job. We're all about the kids. It's what Coach, what the champ Tony DeMarco is all about. But how do our listeners, before we go into a commercial break, how do our listeners purchase tickets for this wonderful Hall of Fame ceremony?
Well, they're going to either go directly through us, you or I, and with we're waiting now. We're having a flyer printed up with all our history and so on, so we can get it out so that different places can have it to view, and we'll have. We'll have a great turnout, I'm sure. But to purchase the tickets, feel free to. You can call me. I'll be glad to give you my number right over the phone here.
Go for it.
780-507-3005, and or they could call you, Paul, or email you or text you, whatever. And then we have our board members that are going out, and they're going to broadcast this through word of mouth and so on, and different places, and we'll we'll get it out as best we can, and we want a big turnout because I know that inductee is nothing worse than if you being inducted and you don't have many people there witnessing the event. That includes family and friends and so on. And it's just like a comedian. I always say, Paul, no comedian wants to get up there with 3 people in the crowd. That's tough. So we want to have a great crowd there, and these are great inductees, believe it. And we're going to have a lot of our former past inductees there. I just spoke with Bobby Leo a couple of days ago, the great local running back and Patriot running back. We're going to have so many greats there, I'm sure.
I think Rico Petroselli is going to be there, right?
Rico, I just spoke with Rico the other day, and Rico said he's going to be there, and we'll have a lot of them there, I hope. And it just shows professionalism when you can show up to these events that other people they're getting in, and then you're a former inductee, and they want to see you there. They want to see these people there. So, hopefully we'll all be there to support them, and it will be a great event at Anthony's in Malden at 1:00 on Sunday, October 5th. And
awesome.
It'll be a great event, Paul, as you know.
It certainly will be. Well, Dave,
Johnny will also.
that's right. Johnny Peasy is going to be the master of ceremony, the comedian.
Yes, he'll be our master of ceremonies like he did the last time. He always does a great job, and he'll be adding his humor as well as stories and
magic.
Productions. And magic, correct.
Absolutely. Well, Dave, if you don't mind holding the line, we're just going to go to a commercial break to pay respect to our sponsors and all. But when we come back, we'll be talking about a very dear friend and a true mentor of yours on the other side of the dial, okay?
Sure thing.
You got it. Please hold on, and let's hear from our sponsors.
Thank you.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
A reminder from Crystal Clear Pools in Kingston. Pools can be fun and a relief from summer's heat, but they can also be a safety concern. Crystal Clear Pools offers safety tips including don't swim alone, don't dive into unfamiliar waters, have automatic locks on all gates and points of access, know where all your safety equipment is located and know how to use it, know where the nearest telephone is in case of emergency, and always keep your pool clean and sanitized. For other safety tips and quality pool products, stop by and see us on Route 27 in Kingston, Crystal Clear Pools, 781-585-7665. Be safe this season.
Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857. Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
5-time Hall of Fame inductee President Dave Cayazzo from the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame Massachusetts chapter invites you to its Hall of Fame induction ceremony at 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 5th at Anthony's of Malden. Congrats to Zavarian Brothers High School head football coach Al Finaro, past San Diego Padres farmhand Joe DiSarcina, and special Tony the Champ DeMarco Spirit Award recipient Catholic Memorial AD football coach John DiBiazzo. Please contact Paul at paulponders.com or President Dave Cayazzo at davekaypitching@gmail.com for more ticket information. We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number is 781-837-4900. And also, I just want to make a quick mention that we were scheduled to have Mr. Gordon Michaels, a past Paul Ponders radio guest on, but Gordon's feeling a little under the weather last night because he had a sold-out show at a local venue, and he's battling a little laryngitis, so his voice really isn't as great as it should be for radio, for a call-in segment promoting a show that's going to be held on September 11th at Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. And the name of the show is If I Were Your Woman. It's a tribute to Gladys Knight and Dionne Warwick. And it's starring Lori Dow and Conchetta. And I've heard both of these ladies sing, and wow, they just blow it away. It's incredible. So Gladys Knight and Dionne Warwick tribute right there. It's hosted by Gordon Michaels, and you also have the wonderful, well-accomplished Michael Larson on piano. So tickets are $30 for the show on September 30th, and the doors open at 6:30, and showtime is at 7 o'clock. And also, if you want to make dinner reservations at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, 53 Summer Street in Malden, it would be great. And if you want to get tickets, you could reach out to gordonmichaels.com and just inquire on that. Tickets are only being sold in advance. Ticket price will go up after August 30th, but please give Gordon a shout out or an email. Shoot him an email today because he really isn't speaking. He's resting his voice for his next sold out show, but please give Gordon Michaels a shout out via email. So Dave Cayazzo, president of the Massachusetts chapter of the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, Massachusetts chapter. You're holding on the line. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing good, Paul. Thanks.
That's great. Awesome. Well, in the remaining 7-8 minutes that we have, you and I had the pleasure of attending a recent celebration of life for a very dear friend of yours, a mentor and all. And actually, over the past 6 to 8 months, this gentleman became just a great friend and mentor to me. And his name was Coach Frank Porky Vieira. So if you want to let our listeners know what Coach V was all about.
Well, Paul, you and I talk about him quite a bit now that you were also a friend of his, because anyone I introduced him to, he considered him a friend as well. And nothing's going to be said of Coach Vieira that already hasn't been said. That's how great a person he was, both on the field and off the field. He was my guy since I got recruited to the University of New Haven out of junior college. And, I be honest with you, when I first went there, I wasn't quite sure I could play at that level because they had so many great players. I mean, I wasn't used to being around great players like that. At junior college, we had some great teams and whatever, but not the players that these guys had at the University of New Haven. So I really got to push myself, and I pushed myself hard enough where I caught his attention, and he liked me, and that was it. And I put my heart and soul into every blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, into every pitch I threw for that guy, because he meant that much to me. And also, I consider myself a great teammate to have, so I wasn't going to quit on anybody. So I was determined to win every game, every inning, every pitch that I threw for this guy. And as it turned out, we became great friends after my retirement, which is unheard of, as you probably heard so many times as you were out at New Haven and speaking with my ex-teammates and friends, secretaries, whatever. And they all said they couldn't believe that I was that close with Coach V, but they kind of sensed it. They said, we just knew that you seemed to be the guy that Coach V, he never had a son. He had daughters, but you were the son he never had. And we simply became great friends, and he was a guy I looked up to tremendously, and what a legend, Paul, as you know. I mean, basketball, baseball, and he was just one of the great athletes you could ever imagine being around or even witnessing or reading about. I mean, nobody like him. Nobody. I don't care. We could go on, but you heard the stories when you were there.
Absolutely. And what really amazed me, and the baseball aside, and before I lose the thought, a shout out to Coach V's wife, Laurie, who is hopefully listening via the Odyssey app. Or she'll hear this on YouTube on the paulponders.com website. But shout out to Laurie, and our thoughts and prayers are still with you. And Laurie, if you need anything, please give Dave Kai or myself a call. And also, if you want to listen to the past Paul Ponders podcast with Coach V, it would be great to really just find out what Coach V and Laurie are all about. And regarding what I was going to say regarding the basketball career that he had at, I believe, Quinnipiac College, he's the leading basketball scorer of all time in their history, and this is before the three-point shot. Just an amazing accomplishment. And also, I love the picture of Coach V, who was smaller in stature but bigger in heart, and Will Chamberlain. Okay, and it was the most incredible Mutt and Jeff type of photo. But he beat Will Chamberlain in a basketball game. With the in the years past in Madison Square Garden.
Yes, he did. Correct, and he he's so proud of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think Will Chamberlain was too happy with it. but I remember, when we used to work out during the winter before baseball was actually beginning, he used to kill us. We'd be running around the gym during practices. And while we were running around, or this was actually before practices, and you'd see Coach V, and this is like, he was in his 40s. He'd be shooting a basketball on the basketball court while we were running around, and he never missed, Paul. He never missed. I says, this guy's unbelievable. I would say to my teammates I was running with, and they said, he was the greatest of all time. And that was when I really first got to understand what he was all about in basketball as well. So, I mean, he was just something. I mean, you hear the stories once again, and like they said on one of the videos that one of the sports writers did, that was at the event that we went to memorialize Coach V, John Mason. On one of his, they said that he was just, you never heard of Quinnipiac until Coach V went there. And then you start hearing about Quinnipiac University because he made it famous.
He really did. So as we start to wind down, Dave, and I'll, if you just want to give a quick a recap of Coach V's career at New Haven College. How many seasons? 40? It
was 44, I believe, 44 years.
And winning record, how many wins?
He had like 1123, I believe.
Very few losses, very few ties. Very few ties. And how many post-playoff appearances, World Series appearances?
Yeah, New Haven went to the College World Series 17 times.
Wow.
And they finished runner-up twice. And, you know how it was back then, and even now, from here, we didn't have the deep, although almost all of our pitchers signed the years I was playing and before and after. But some great players, but we just didn't have the depth that some of these schools from Florida and Texas or whatever Alabama had in the College World Series, and we just ran short because of that. And but unbelievable job of coaching. He and Coach Tonelli and Coach Anquilari did all those years there, and no one's more respected than Coach Vieira. He's in so many halls of fame. It's amazing,
Truly, truly. Well, Dave Caiazzo, president of the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, Massachusetts chapter, I want to thank you for being a guest. And Paul Ponders, we'll have to have you back to pick up the conversation about Coach V, and also to let our listeners know about your past career as well. So I want to thank you for being on, my friend, as I start to sign off, okay?
My pleasure.
Thank you, Dave. We'll talk to you soon. Well, thank you. Well, I want to invite our listeners to stay tuned to WATD for the Memories with Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll. Ron, you are a true leader of the pack with great musical memories of yesteryear. So thank you, Ron. Thanks again to Dave, Arthur, and our advertisers. But thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.